Type 1 diabetes. It is part of the endocrine system. Endocrine system is a collection of glands that produces hormones that regulates metabolism, growth, and development, tissue function, sexual function, reproduction, sleep, and mood. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune condition. Because of the attacks on the insulin-producing cells, the body can no longer make insulin. Therefore, a person with type 1 diabetes treats the disease by taking insulin. Insulin can be given either by injections or via a continuous subcutaneous insulin infusion system, an insulin pump. Either way, people with type 1 diabetes need to test their blood multiple ways a day to determine the amount of insulin they need to take. With type 1 diabetes, the body's immune system attacks part of its own pancreas. But the immune system see the insulin-producing cells, the beta cells, as foreign, and they destroy those particular cells. This is known as an autoimmune response. Insulin is a hormone that the body needs to get glucose from the bloodstream into the cells of the body. Insulin is produced by the beta cells of the pancreas, located in the islets of the Langerhans. These cells continuously release a small amount of insulin in the body, but they release surges of the hormone in response to a rise in the blood glucose level. Without insulin, there is nothing to break down the sugar, so the sugar stays and builds up in the blood. In the absence of insulin, the body goes into starvation mode. This means the body breaks down the fat cells so that there is energy for the brain and muscles. If this process goes on for too long, people can become severely ill and die. There is no cure for this disease. However, there are many organizations that are working on finding a cure and technologies or treatments to reduce the burden of living with this chronic medical condition. The American Diabetes Association and the Juvenile Diabetes Research Foundation are two organizations that support researchers do this work.
Properly functioning beta cells of the pancreas secrete insulin in a way that will keep your blood sugars at a physiologic level. If your beta cells of the pancreas are functioning properly, then your body can involuntarily maintain the glucose levels within the normal range by secreting the appropriate amount of insulin. Improperly functioning beta cells of the pancreas do not secrete the necessary amount of insulin in order to keep the blood at a physiological level. Someone with improperly functioning beta cells of the pancreas must take insulin through a shot or insulin pump and test their blood glucose levels to determine the amount of insulin they need to take. They should maintain a healthy diet and engage regular physical activity. Blood sugars can be high in someone with type 1 diabetes if they do not take enough insulin, they eat more food than the amount of insulin they will cover, their activity level is lower than expected, or if they are under stress or sick. They treat a high blood sugar by giving more insulin pumps as a bolus, either by an injection or a pump. Bolusing is when you have a dose of insulin given by an injection or by a pump for the purpose of rapidly achieving a normal blood sugar level. If someone with type 1 diabetes has blood sugar that is too low, which is lower than 70, this means that they will need something quickly to raise their blood sugar. They must take rapid-acting carbohydrates, meaning juice, glucose tablets, or simple sugar candies like Starbursts. This is a meter, and what you do is you take a test strip, and I'm not going to touch it, but I'm going to touch one. I don't care. Okay. This is a test strip, and what you do is you take it and you put it in the meter, and oh god, it's on. Okay, so you just prick your finger and you apply the blood to the tip of the thing. And I'm gonna turn this off. I don't know how. So you put the test strip in the meter, and the meter will read your blood sugar levels. And this is how a person with type 1 diabetes can check to make sure whether they need to bolus or take in a sugar or something like that to regulate their blood sugar. This is a bottle of insulin, and this helps people with diabetes if they have an insulin pump. And what you do is you put the insulin into a reservoir, which is like a needle which you put the insulin in, and then you attach it to a site, and the site attaches to the reservoir and attaches to your pump, and so it's basically this large amount of tubing that connects to your pump, and you can add insulin as you need it through the pump. see the site and the reservoir here being connected by insulin, and you can see the insulin kind of dropping out of the needle in which you put into yourself. There are many differences between type 1 and type 2 diabetes, and there are some similarities. Type 1 diabetes occurs at any age. The body attacks insulin-producing cells, and the person can no longer make insulin. People with type 1 diabetes need to check their blood sugar level with a device called a glucometer, or at least 4 times a day, to know how much insulin to take. People with type 1 diabetes need to take insulin using an injection or via a pump. People with type 2 diabetes, this occurs at any age, but is more often in adults. The body makes a lot of insulin, but is not able to be used at the target tissues. And with lifestyle intervention, type 2 diabetes can be reversed. Treatment starts with diet and exercise, and oral medications can also be used to increase the amount of insulin the pancreas makes. People with type 2 diabetes also need to check their blood sugar, but usually only once or twice a day. They're similar because they both have an inappropriate insulin secretion, and they both require medicines to reduce blood sugar. Those with type 1 need to take insulin injection. Those with type 2 can take oral medication or injected insulin.
I'm Sabrina.
And I'm Haley, and our presentation and infomercial has been sponsored by the pancreas, our fake pancreas. Thank you, Ms. Gamble, for being our #1 supporter.
Bye.
Goodbye.